Hi, everybody. Welcome to My Other's Keeper. We have our Crystal here. So are you ready for trivia?
Not really.
No, there's no one here. So we'll just sit and chat for a minute and see if anyone decides to show up. And if they do in the next few minutes, we can do some trivia. Um, so yeah, Sam was supposed to be on tonight, and again, um, his life just gets ahead of him sometimes, and it frankly does for most of us. I know that's for sure. So, Sam, if you can hear the sound of my voice, come toward the sultry sound of my voice, or not, whichever. Um, yeah, Mariana and Hazley need you. Be there for them because that is the priority. Anyways, um, so Crystal, what's new?
What's not new?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm slowly learning how to deal with fibromyalgia.
That's good. That's important. Yeah. Um,
Getting sent for another round of tests.
mhm.
So hopefully that will help.
Yep.
And have been given another new med
Yep.
to try.
Hey, Daniel. I wish you would come on and play trivia with us, but I'm glad you showed up. So you're going on to another new medication or trying a new medication.
Yep.
Okay.
My psychiatrist put me on a new antidepressant to go with the stuff that I'm already on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Every now and then she has to do that with me too. We share a psychiatrist.
yeah.
I think you guys knew that already though. But yeah, no, in the past she has had to do that to me just to give us that little boost,
Well,
I guess.
to be honest, I've been on the same stuff for almost 20 years.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Things change, body chemistry changes. That's
yes,
huge. Yeah, absolutely.
I do have to watch because with this new one and one of the old ones that I was on, there's a chance of serotonin syndrome. So I do have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, keeping an eye out without being scared of it. That's what I have found for me has to be the balance of the two, right?
Yeah.
Like I could say, and I do tend to go with the, oh, but it's going. And so I have to talk to somebody who knows more than I do. And they go, okay, just relax. You're fine. Don't go to the ER. You know, like happened last time we were supposed to do trivia. And that night we actually had people who wanted to go on. So, oh well. Um, do you know what we should do instead of play trivia? Let's do this and talk about our favorite memories from each of these decades.
Oh boy. Um, that could be interesting.
Favorite memory, not biggest memory, because that could be scary. Okay, so let's do this. The 1980s. Yeah.
Oh,
You were what, 6 months old? Okay. So the 1980s. What are some of your favorite memories from the 1980s?
well, there's one that our family remembers and laughs hysterically at even now.
Hmm.
But at the time, it was kind of mixed emotions all around.
Yep.
Me freaking out and crying, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, what was it?
So we had gotten three wheelers, and we had gotten a larger three wheeler,
Hmm.
all terrain vehicle.
Hmm.
Um, we They were called Trimos back in the day,
Yes, they
which
were.
more or less
I think that was a
was,
brand name, wasn't it?
I don't know,
I don't know.
but
Anyway.
we had a little one and a big one, and we had just gotten the big one, and Mom was still trying to learn how to shift the gears,
Hmm.
and we had decided we were going to go over to my aunt and uncle's who live half a mile down the road.
Hmm.
So the wagon that we used for putting grass clippings or
Mm.
whatever
Mm-hmm.
in the summer, Dad had hooked it up to the three wheeler, and
Yeah.
we were going to go off.
Right.
And us kids were and Dad were sitting in the wagon,
Oh no.
and Mom was
I'm
driving,
picturing what's gonna happen next.
and we barely got to the tree line of our yard, and then there's big open space until my aunt and uncle's tree line
Right.
for their yard.
Yeah.
And the pin came out that was holding the
That wasn't what I was thinking. Okay, continue.
and Mom kept on tootling down the
Oh
road.
no.
And of course she had left us. And so I
Quite literally in the dust.
was bawling my eyes out.
Yep.
Mommy left us. I can't remember how old I was, but
Yeah.
and Dad was laughing so hard his tears were going down his face.
Yeah.
And Mom gets to Aunt and Uncle's place, and she's talking with my uncle, and she just I and this is what she told us after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
She says she couldn't figure out why we weren't getting out of the trailer. And so she just kind of hollered over her phone, aren't you guys gonna get out? Not realizing as she was saying it that it wasn't there. And my uncle looked at her like she had three heads.
Which she did. They just happened to all be in the trailer elsewhere.
And he's like, who are you talking to? And that's when she kind of turned around and saw that the cart wasn't fine. And so she came back and got us. And of course, my oldest brother and my dad had been
Mm-hmm.
pushing the wagon towards my uncle's place.
Oh wow. Yes. Yep.
So after that, Dad fashioned a I can't remember what kind of a clip, but he would put it in
Like a linchpin.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so once we put the hook on,
Yeah.
we would put the pin in
Yeah.
so that it couldn't come out.
Exactly. Every trailer needs one of those, and now every trailer has one. But yeah, before the days of enlightenment, 1990. Um, yeah.
What was your favorite?
My favorite memory is probably the favorite Christmas that I've told you guys about before. This would have been about 1982-ish, and my dad was working as a uh, not caregiver, the night patrolman at the local airport. And it was Christmas, and Mom was praying for the meal, and she was saying, God, if there was anybody we could bless this year, please put us in their way. And she said, Amen. And Dad looked at her and says, you should have prayed that, or if you would have prayed that at lunch instead of supper, we'd have had two extra people. And everybody kind of looks at him. And yeah, apparently there were these two British guys who were stuck at the airport alone on Christmas Day. I don't know if they missed a flight or it just happened to be a really bad connection, but we all packed up, and Dad and my sister and I, Glennis and I, we took a Christmas meal to these men. Turkey, stuffing, potatoes, gravy, everything. They got something of everything, including those little Christmas crackers. Yeah. So, and I made them. I was, what, 9, 10 years old. I made them wear the hats. So they had a really good Christmas. And honestly, that is 100% my favorite Christmas memory. And I would say definitely one of my favorite memories in general. I love remembering that day. Yeah. All right. The Wheel of Destiny. Let's see, what have we got here? We've got 1990s. Okay, okay, okay. All right. So 1990s.
Oh, it took out
Oh, oh, oh.
90s. That's kind of weird.
Hang on. Cancel. No, it took it out because I was
That's okay.
no, that's okay. I'll yeah.
One.
Yes, the 1100s. 1990s. There we go. All right.
Doing the 1990s.
Yes, the 1990s. Huh. You were saying?
I think the best part about the 1990s
Mm-hmm.
is graduating high school in
Mm.
96
Mm-hmm.
and going off, and I ended up doing 3 semesters of Bible school,
Mm-hmm.
majoring in counseling,
Mm-hmm.
which nothing ever came of it. That was the only extra schooling I had, except
Mm.
for a couple of correspondence courses since.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up going out to Ontario for 3 months, being
Mm-hmm.
kicked out of a program there, coming home, starting at my first 2 jobs that I ever had besides working at camp
Mm-hmm.
and around the farm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a bunch of new beginnings that I was so scared to take, but
Yeah.
had to.
So what out of that is one, not just the whole 1990s, what did you like? What is one memory that you really, that maybe it was a good memory, maybe it was a bad memory, something that really struck you in the 90s, like from the 1990s, one memory that strikes you.
You sure you want to hear that one?
Okay, let's go with the good memory.
Well, it could have been good. You could classify it as good.
Sure, why not? An arrest warrant. Got it. Okay, yes, you were saying?
The sentencing for my brothers.
Yeah. So for those who haven't heard, what were they arrested for?
They, well, he wasn't arrested before the trial or before the sentencing. He was still out. Um, I charged my brothers who had sexually assaulted me, and my oldest brother ended up going to jail, and the other one had probation, and both of them had mandatory offenders counseling.
There we go. Okay, so the day of sentencing would have been a powerful day for you.
It was, but it was so surreal.
Yeah.
Because the prosecutor told me that morning that they were going to read my statement out in court.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, I really don't want mom and dad to hear this. But they were there.
I know.
But it ended up being a good thing because
Mm-hmm.
my statement was so different from my brother's.
Mm-hmm.
And if they hadn't have read it out, I probably wouldn't have seen what I wanted in my oldest brother going to jail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As it was when they read it out in court, the judge ended up saying that there was so much discrepancy that she would have to hear testimony from the victim.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thankfully, my oldest brother leaned over to his court-appointed lawyer and told his lawyer to say that if that's what Crystal said happened, then that's what happened. And so I didn't end up having to
relive on the stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was one of, or
We're kind of
our
snug back here.
our case was actually one of the very first cases in the new court of what was Court of Queen's Bench in North Battleford.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So, because we could be doing this for a while, I'm going to go with 1990, my favorite memory. One of my favorite, there were a lot of really not so good memories, but one of my favorite memories of 1990 is like yours. It's kind of bittersweet. Um, the last day I was with my ex-fiance, there had been a lot of turmoil from for quite a while between us. There was a reason he's my ex. And my mom had come up to the city where I was living, and she was visiting me for the weekend. And I was having a fight with my boyfriend at the time. And he's like, "No, I'm going to come over and we're going to hash it out. And by the end of it, we're either getting married or we're breaking up." And I'm like, "Okay, I know we're breaking up, but that's okay. You come over." And my mom's like, "Okay, I will be right here for you, Kim." And I'm like, no, 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 no. There are things that you're going to hear about your little girl that you never wanted to hear." And she said, "Kim, no matter what, I will love you. There's nothing you can say that will make me not love you." So that young man and I had it out, and we each aired our grievances with each other, and we each aired what we needed out of the relationship that we weren't getting. And at the end of it, basically, it was a hashing out of, who could hurt the other worse. And unfortunately, I think I won. Uh, no, like honestly,
yeah.
I am pretty sure I hurt him worse than he hurt me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I hurt him worse. Um, but I hurt him worse because I had become best friends with a young man who treated me with dignity. And I learned what it was like to be friends with somebody who treated me with dignity, and I wasn't willing to go back to not. And so he was very hurt because I wasn't willing to bring down that barrier anymore. So we ended up breaking up, and one of like just at the very end, I'm sitting in the chair crying. He's across the room on the couch crying. My mom's over in the chair. I don't remember if she was crying or not. Probably was. Um, but she said, "Kim, right now, all you want to do is go over and sit in his lap and beg him for his forgiveness, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, I do." And she said, "Don't you dare." That was huge, huge. And I needed to hear that in the biggest way, the biggest way. Um, then after this guy left, my mom and I, over the years prior to this, had become just absolutely inseparable because, like I've mentioned prior, her first marriage, my dad, not a great thing. So when those two split up, he got arrested. She and I moved away from the town where we were living, where she lived, and we moved into this little tiny town. Well, not tiny, this small town in northern Saskatchewan, closer to her family. And when we did that, we were really all each other had. And so we became super, super tight. And this night she says to me, "Kim, you just really need to talk, don't you?" I said, "I sure do." And she kind of sits down, and I need to phone Doug. In the time that it took from moving from our little town in northern Saskatchewan. Doug, my husband, also was from that town. He and I moved to the city the same time. We became best friends. Best friends. Nothing physical, nothing romantic. We had each other's backs. And how many times did my ex say he was out of town when in fact he wasn't? So I would, yeah, anyway, won't go there. But I'm like, I need to talk to Doug because he had become my best friend. That is my 1990 best memory.
Yeah.
Yeah. The second best memory would be the next day when Doug and I went on our first official date to the movies with my mom. Did I mention we were really close? Anyway, yeah. So that was my 1990 best memory.
And you guys are still pretty close.
Mom and I, oh yeah, we sure are.
We might as well just go to 2000
Now let's make it random.
now.
Random. See, 1990s again.
We've already done
Well, that's why I said 1990. We're going to close. We're not going to remove. There we go. That was the problem. Got it. Okay, so 1990. What's another 1990s memory that works well for you?
The 90s were a time of growth.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a little bit more confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up when I finally got into the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
I put my resume out in the community I lived in growing up, and then the city that was about an hour away. Well, I get a call back from the hotel in the town that I lived in,
Mm-hmm.
and right away they wanted me. No questions asked, nothing.
Nice.
They wanted me right away. Because of course I had work experience in a industrial type kitchen from camp. And I didn't really want to stay in that community. I didn't want to live at home because I would have had to bike 8 miles into town. And it wasn't a very nice terrain. So yeah, I just.
Whoops.
What? Oh.
Yeah, I was trying to make this picture bigger, and it
That's okay.
Went big. Sorry, I interrupted.
And so I asked them if I could have a couple of days to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started phoning the places that I had put my resume in the small in the city. And thankfully I got one with Tim Hortons, an interview with Tim Hortons. And my big sister took me into North Battleford, and we did the whole go around, and we talked to the lady there, and I got the job. Well, here I'm supposed to move the beginning of June. I have nowhere that I know of to move.
Oh no.
My one aunt and uncle live there. I did not want to have to room and board with them.
Oh yeah.
But thankfully they didn't want me either. Thankfully.
There is that.
Their daughter is a month younger than me, and we're oil and water.
Yeah.
And but they knew of somebody who was a friend of my cousin's, and they would room and board people at times. But the thing is, for them to keep the room and board low, I had to look after the kids when they needed me to.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, that's not a problem. Because I figured, okay, just be every now and then. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had my first shift at Tim Hortons, and I was on the 7 to 3:30, so I was on the lunch shift,
Mm-hmm.
which I liked.
Mm-hmm.
And we, I got home back to the place I was rooming and boarding, and there was a message for me to call the the biggest hotel at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I called and I asked for the person that I was supposed to, and she got me to come in for an interview.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me in the interview that she was hiring, she wanted to hire me to take over her job. And she had not even let management know that she was leaving.
By the way,
She was going back to school.
oh,
And the reason she ended up hiring me was because of my last name.
mm-hmm.
And she asked me, she said, "Are you so and so's cousin?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's my first cousin." And she's like, "Knew it." I went to youth group with him. And so I kind of ended up getting that job because of who I was related to.
Mm-hmm.
And her and I became quite close. And it was then, well, even with the Tim Hortons job, I only worked Tim Hortons for about a month.
Oh, okay.
And then I ended up full time, of course, at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because it wasn't until probably a good 6 months to after that someone said to me, when you go into a new job, never tell them about your abuse and never tell them about your
Yeah.
mental health.
Yeah.
I'm going, well, too late.
Oops.
Because that was one of the very first things I let them know was, and of course I had to with Tim Hortons because it was a public place, and my oldest brother was living in a community fairly close to that city. And I didn't want to have him walk in
Mm-hmm.
and me have to leave the front
Mm-hmm.
and them not realizing what the problem was.
Yeah.
So, and I had to be very open and honest. And I was well received.
Good.
And same with the one who hired me at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
The first couple of evening shifts, there was one evening shift that I went down. I had to go and check on the chlorine tanks,
Mhm.
and they were down in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I started to freak out and have an anxiety attack. So I actually phoned her and I said, I can't go down to check, but I have to check the chlorine.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her why. I told her I was freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
And she walked me through it. And she said, give me a call in 10 minutes. You have to have it done. And because she gave me that time frame,
Yeah.
I was able to do it. And then a year and a half after starting there, I put my resume into Walmart
Nice.
at the end of the 1990s.
There you
At the
go.
very end of the 1990s.
Okay. So we're going to slip me into the very end of the 1990s. My husband and I, after 5 years of dating this very respectful young man, we ended up getting married. A few years later, I got pregnant. Took some getting to get that done. Had to go on medication for that, which messes with you. But yeah. Anyway, we got pregnant, and um, my husband was offered a position in the company where he still works, but he was offered a position across the country over in New Brunswick. So, like, way on the East Coast. When we were slated to move, I was 7 months pregnant. Yeah. So I moved across the country when I was 7 months pregnant.
Sounds like my brother and his wife.
Yeah, well, it gets better. It gets better. I had the baby, and like when she was on her due date, believe it or not, had the baby on her due date, and then my mom came and visited for 3 weeks. It was wonderful. Oh, loved having her out there. And then she had to go home, and I was stuck all by myself and alone with my baby because my husband was working 16-hour days. And so then a couple months go along, baby's 8 weeks old. We have to move from this city to this city in the same province. So let's count from Saskatchewan to New Brunswick, have a baby, to another city in New Brunswick with a baby, little baby. Um, then life happens, things go on. If I ever want to tell you about all of that, I'll bore you to tears another time. Anyway, anyways, so then when my daughter was about 5 months old, I started feeling sick and like just, that queasy, permanent car sick feeling. That's morning sickness for me. That's exactly how I felt for the first however many months that I was pregnant with my older daughter. And I'm like, oh, no, my older daughter,
Oh, okay.
the first one.
Okay.
So I knew what that sickness felt like very recently. So I go to my doctor and I'm like, hi, doc. And my husband wasn't at our house where we lived. He had to go to the other city because he was working on a road on a project. He was the project manager for it. And there was a road between these two cities. So he had to go from the new city where we lived to the old city where we lived over there. So he was there. I go to my doctor. I'm like, hi, I need a prescription for Declectin. Now, for those of you who don't know what Declectin is, it is an anti-nausea medication only given out to pregnant people. He's like, yeah, I only give that to people who are pregnant. I said, yeah, I know. Give me the test. He comes, he says, but you have a 5-month-old baby. I said, give me the test. So he did. He's like, you're pregnant. Here's your Declectin. So I phoned Doug, and it was at supper time, and I'm like, okay, honey, are you alone? Yep. You sitting down? Yep. By the way, guess what? Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like God decided, okay, I know what we're doing now. Here, have another one. So that the end of the 1990s were pretty spectacular for me too. I gotta say, it was pretty awesome.
And
So
then you moved.
and then we moved. Oh yes, yes, yes. So then I'm 3 months pregnant with daughter number two. So daughter number one, if you're counting, is only 8 months old. We moved back to Saskatchewan from, yeah, like it was an 11 months or a 11 months basically business trip. So we had anticipated moving out there and staying out there for like 5 or 6 years or so. And that's why we agreed to move, knowing that we would have children and all of that. We would just kind of start our lives there. And unfortunately, the government changed, the provincial government changed. They plowed down, literally plowed down the entire project that my husband was working on. Man, oh man. Anyway, so yes, moved out 7 months pregnant, moved, moved back 3 months pregnant. So yeah, that was
Well,
fun.
it's kind of funny because my one brother, they got pregnant.
Hmm.
They moved from one place. Um, down south in
Mhm.
Saskatchewan. Had the baby. Next time she finds out she's pregnant, they move to Manitoba.
Mhm.
And then we hear that they're moving, and we said, "Oh, she's pregnant."
And she was.
Yep.
And she was.
Yep. And then we found out a couple years after baby number 3.
Yeah.
She finds out she's pregnant again. And we're like, "Oh, so they must be getting ready to move." Well, that time they moved 2 provinces over to Alberta.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
They had twins that time.
Well, 2 provinces, 2 babies.
Yep.
Sounds right.
But the twins were actually had already been born by the time
Well, that's cheating.
they were. Thing is, they were only a couple months old.
Oh, okay, fine, yeah.
And 5 kids under the age of 5, pretty much.
Oh, my
Or
word.
under the age of 6.
Still.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to skip and we're going to go to the 2000s instead of the 80s and 90s. We are simply going to go to the 2000s. 2000s, what is a really major positive memory for you?
Getting hired on with Walmart.
There you go.
The end of January 20. Well, I went in for beginning of January. I went in for my very first laparoscopy
Mhm.
for endometriosis, and by the end of that month, the day I got home from the surgery, there was an answer or a message on my machine
Mhm.
saying to call Walmart. So I called the next morning.
Mhm.
They were doing a hiring center.
Mm.
They were moving from a mall location up to their own freestanding
Mhm.
building. And so they were doing mass hiring for
Mhm.
all of the extra people that they were going to need.
Makes sense.
And I said, like, I was told that they're doing the hiring center that afternoon, and I'm sitting there going, just had surgery. I'm still half groggy from anesthetic and everything, and I'm like, okay, sure. I guess I'm gonna have to take a taxi there because I didn't have a vehicle.
I can't drive. Yeah.
Well, no, I didn't have a vehicle. I didn't even have a license at that point.
Oh my. Wow.
And so I went out and had my interview. Now, laparoscopies for endometriosis are in your midsection.
Mhm.
So you can't wear real proper pants.
No.
And so I had gotten overalls to
Mhm.
wear so that I could wear something that didn't have a belt.
Yes.
And so I go in for this interview wearing overalls,
Uh-huh.
and I think the only ones that I had gotten for that time were like blue jean type overalls.
Mhm.
So I looked like a farmer.
Well, hey, why not?
And I'm told that I did not remove my ball cap.
Yeah, well, if the combine fits. Yeah.
And I found when I was told that, I was actually kind of surprised at that because I pretty much always right away remove my hat when I go inside because that's what I was taught. And so yeah, and in that state, I don't really remember. All I remember was having to go up a complete staircase and how painful it was.
Yep.
And I would start going.
Hey, excuse me.
So yeah, it just and I 20 years later, or 25 plus years later, I'm still with Walmart. So
It's nice when you can have that security of this is like mine. You know, I have this job. I'm secure in this job. For me, I have this relationship. I'm secure in this relationship.
The funny thing is, I was only hired on temporary.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that at the time.
Oh, no.
And
Okay.
temporary is only up to a 3 month contract.
Ooh. Okay then.
And
Do they know that? You're
well,
past your contract.
the funny thing is, they trained me as a greeter and
Hmm.
cashier.
Hmm.
And because I didn't understand that I was being hired temporarily,
Hmm.
I just assumed I was going to, as
Hmm.
long as my name was on the schedule, I came in.
Oh yeah.
And even the times they called me and literally came and picked me up so that I could get there faster than walking.
Well, there you go.
Um, yeah, that's how it ended up being. And then they called me into the office to sign this paperwork. And I said, "Well, what's this?" And they said, "Well, we're moving you from temporary up to permanent peak time,"
Ooh.
which peak time is kind of like part time, but they can call you for any shifts. And
Oh.
if you want the shift, you can take it.
Hmm.
So even right from the get go, I was still getting full time hours, even though I was only part time.
But they saw that you were reliable.
Mm-hmm.
You had a good work ethic.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. Good work ethic. Show up whenever they need you. You'll be valuable.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was kind of neat. And I had a
Yeah.
great group of people that I worked with there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I miss them. Well, actually, quite often I miss them.
Okay.
I made some really good friends through
Yeah.
in that store. So,
Yeah.
and then they also helped me move to the community I'm in now.
Hmm.
So,
Yep. Well, for me, the 2000s, the big change in the 2000s, there were a couple of really major life changes. The first one was in 2000. Baby number two was born, and then 11 months later, I was diagnosed with bipolar. So that was huge. Like that was just earth shattering. Um, After that, a couple of years later, about 2 years later, we moved from the city we live close to now into the community and the house that we live in now. And that would have been 2003. So we've been here for 22 years now. And that just, when I think of how often we moved around when I was growing up, the longest we lived in anywhere was close to 4 years, anywhere. So after we hit 4 years here, it's like, oh, honey, this is the longest I've lived anywhere in my life. So yeah, there was that. Um, and then we moved here, and I started a double degree in biblical and intercultural studies. And I'm like, okay, I'm in my 30s. I have children. I can't just go to college just to get knowledge. I have to have something marketable when I get out. So I didn't want to. I really didn't. But I figured, the couple different degrees that I could get is I could be a pastor. Wasn't sure I wanted to be a pastor. I wanted to be a missionary. I wanted to go and talk to people, and I wanted to have the freedom to be able to move around and talk to these people rather than having to stay in one spot because I had never just stayed in one spot. Anyways, so yeah, I became a trained missionary. And then I took the English, teaching English as a subsequent language course. And so I became a missionary slash English as a second language teacher. I ended up with one of the best careers I could have asked for. Doing hair, loved being with the public, loved the creativity, loved the connection that I had with the people that I worked with, like yourself. Just amazing. And then going to college, of course, there was a lot of struggles. My girls were very little. My husband had to work full time. I had to be a student full time. It was rough. I'm not gonna lie, it was rough. But when the girls were still pretty little, I had a new career, and I was able to work on the days when the girls were in school. When the girls weren't in school, I brought them with me. I brought them with me to work, and they helped me teach because they were 6 and 7 years old by then. So they could help and they could pass out papers. And my students fell in love with my girls. The other day, my younger daughter, who works in a town not far from here, there was a woman of Asian descent and a little child, probably about 4 years old or so. And she was talking to this little one and saying, okay, this is a banana. The child's like, banana. Okay. And then what is this in our language? The child said it in their language, apparently not well. She's like, okay, let's try that again. Well, no. And then, so the child said it in their language. And then my daughter comes up to her and says, hi, do you want a banana? And the little one says, yes. And so she says, what's this called? And the little one said, banana. What's it in your language? She says it in their language. And and then we're assuming it's her grandma. The grandma looks at the child and says, and how do you, and then what do you say? And the little one says, thank you. And my daughter says, and how do you say it in your language? And the little one said, da blue doma. And I know that she said that because my child is the one who told me that she said that. I wasn't the one who guessed, right? And so my daughter heard that and she's like, how long have you been in Canada? And the lady told her, where did you first learn English? The lady told her, she's like, do you know Teacher Kim? And then my daughter says, I'm her daughter. And she looked at my daughter and says, oh, are you the big one or the little one? And she says, well, I'm the younger one, but I'm bigger than my sister. And she just, the joy that the 2000s gave to our family, this new home, new career, new love for people that I was able to develop and convey to my children. All of that, just beautiful memories, beautiful, beautiful memories. Anyway, okay, so 2010s.
2010s.
2010s. What happened in the 2010s?
Oh, good stuff and heartache.
Yeah, same.
Um, 2010 is the year that my mother passed away, so that was kind of a good one. It was a mixed bag.
Yeah, my mom passed away. It was great.
I I learned that there is such a fine line between love and hate,
Mm-hmm.
and I walked that line the week after she passed away,
Mm-hmm.
tearing up, and thankfully I had people that came around me and supported me because my oldest brother was kind of a jackass.
Can't imagine. Your younger brother, or the middle brother, probably a worse jackass.
Well,
That's just who he
I
is.
didn't. I wasn't at least in the same house as him
Oh, yeah,
for
that'll
a
do it.
couple of days. So yeah, the middle one was kind of an idiot as well, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because like I had made one of the meals where it was all of us, like their 9 kids combined
Mm-hmm.
and everything, and I said something about not having had to make a meal for that many people. And my middle brother is like, oh, you've never had to make a meal for this many people. And I'm sitting there going, you have no idea that every time any of the family came out, I was the one making the meal
Mm-hmm.
and having to clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
And
All of that.
and his sorry ass was sitting in the living room while everything was getting done.
Yep.
But my oldest brother, he kind of made me mad because he sat there and he said the day of Mom's memorial, I had asked Dad about being able to take some of the stuff home that Dad had said to me that I could.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him if it was okay if I still took some meat from the freezer, which he had told me that I could,
Mm-hmm.
and my brother jumped down my throat. Don't be taking things until Dad says you can. Let him be the one. And I'm sitting there going,
He was. Yeah.
and yet 6 months later, he's pushing for Dad to start dating.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the beginning of February 2010 was Mom's memorial.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning of February 2011
Mm-hmm.
was Dad's wedding.
Oh, wow.
I was literally in the church 1 year plus a day for a funeral, then a wedding.
Yeah.
And no big deal, whatever.
No.
2012, I lost my best friend.
Yeah.
And that was really difficult.
Yeah.
It was difficult because I would talk to her every day for a good half hour after I got off work.
Mm-hmm.
And quite often she'd help calm me down.
Mm-hmm.
She showed me what a mother could be.
Yep.
She helped me eat better,
Mm-hmm.
make better choices. She was just a special lady.
Mm-hmm.
And 2012,
Mm-hmm.
I ended up with a new best friend when my best friend's husband remarried.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. It's amazing how those
and
just.
as soon as I heard that we were going to meet his new um, lady,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make sure I was there so that I could
Mm-hmm.
introduce myself to her. And her and I just clicked right off the get-go.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Struck my beats.
Well, for me, the 2010s, the real major remarkable part of the 2010s happened right smack dab in the middle of them. And that is when my boss decided to gaslight me into thinking I was a bad teacher. For 9 months, he held the threat of firing me on a day-to-day basis over my head. And my good friend at work, she's like, why do you stay here? Why do you put up with this? I said, because I'm tough and I'm resilient and I can do it. I know I can do this. Well, November of that year, I found out that I couldn't. Um, the boss walked into the office, the teacher's office, and I couldn't even see him. He was back behind me by the door, blocked by a great big bookshelf. Like he couldn't see me, I couldn't see him. But the moment he walked in and I heard his voice, I was instantly tears, shuddering like I had seizures, shuddering. I had a 100% complete nervous breakdown. From that day on, for almost a full year, I was in bed. I wasn't sleeping the entire time, but I was in bed 18 to 20 hours almost every day for almost a full year. And that day has informed the entire rest of my life since. I can no longer work on a regular basis. I can do work. I just have to be able to do it in my time, in my way, that kind of stuff. But now I'm an artist. Go grab that new one over there. I have a project that I'm doing in my kitchen that yep, that's the one, that I'm able to do new types of paintings like this guy. I love this one. I don't know if you like that, like that. This reminds me of one of those fancy goldfish when I hold it like this. Anyway, so I'm an artist. I get to talk to people like I did today about mental health, the importance of mental health, the importance of being able to be open, being able to be vulnerable, and being able to support somebody with their own mental health journey. Those things were informed by that day in 2015. So that has taken us to very literally today.
I guess one thing that I forgot for the 2000s,
Mhm.
I moved to the community I'm in now
There's that. Yes.
and put up no contact with my mother.
Yep. Created boundaries. That's huge. Huge. Yeah.
So that was 2006.
There you go. Well, everybody, thank you for hanging with us, even though you're not here in the chat. I know you're going to be here, and those who need to hear this are going to hear this. You're going to laugh with us. You're going to cry. And all in all, it's going to be a good stream. So I love you, and I'll talk to you again later. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Some come with scars, some come with dreams. In this circle, we're more than what we seem. No judgment here, just voices to be heard. Through laughter, through the tears, we find every word. I'm my brother's keeper, I'm my sister's guide.